we realized, like if we're doing all this marketing, then, we're leaving tens of thousands, if not six figures on the table for most of these businesses. They're just happy that someone picked up the phone. I called 10 different people before
Yeah.
someone actually picked up the phone. Some of the biggest sales that our companies have made have been from after hours. Very
Two
soon,
AI
where
bots talking to each
Google's
other.
AI is going to be talking to our AI and having those conversations.
We're at another inflection point here in history where soon everybody's going to have these, and if you don't have them, you're going to be left behind. All right, my friends, welcome back to another episode of Marketing Without Rules, the show where we inspire business owners by bringing on guests who exemplify the hunter mindset. They make moves, they color outside the lines, and they have found creative ways to channel the attention of their community into currency. This show is sponsored by Blue Crocus Solutions, a web design and SEO agency focused on helping home service companies. I am your host, Louis Vandervalk, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with a fellow Atlantic Canadian, John Cody of Trailblaze AI, Social Spike. John is in Halifax. And man, John, I'm just super excited to chat with you. We've, kind of bumped into each other online. We chatted with each other directly, on a call for the first time a few weeks ago, and just some really cool stuff, some similarities in our history. So I'm excited to have you, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, Lewis. And yeah, it's funny, like I said, Atlantic Canada, small world, and then eventually, agencies kind of bump heads or you're not even in a good way, right? Like just connect through various sources. And it's cool what we can do online now and meet up with others where, geez, 20 years ago, you had no chance, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I first saw you bumping heads with people in the SEO groups. It was either Tim Callert's group or
Yeah.
another group there. I forget which one it was, but I saw you calling people out with the SEO BS, and I was like, "Oh, I like this guy." And then I was like, "Oh, he's in my backyard."
That would definitely be Tim's group. I help moderate it in there, so we get all sorts of crazy stuff every day. And yeah, I'm blunt. I'll call things out when I see it, and I don't like people getting screwed over, right? And I see a lot of it in the SEO industry, so I'm going to call it out. Keep people safe from those predators.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big, and that's part of the reason that your clients have, added over 20 million in new revenue since you started your agency. And we'll get into that, right? We've got your Trailblaze AI software here, the CRM stuff, SEO stuff, which is kind of the backbone of what you're doing, and yeah, just all of that. So I think maybe let's give people a quick history on who John is and where he came from, so they have some credibility here. I know we were just talking about you doing
For
QA
sure.
for software companies. I know you started in like the rank and rent as well. Just give people a little bit of a history there.
For sure. So, I mean, my entrepreneurial journey started in 2012. We actually created an online nutrition app that could track your meals, plan it out for you every day and every week, and I wasn't in programming and I wasn't even in website design yet, anything like that, but we had an idea and actually got some product to market. So it was pretty cool to see it kind of fleshed out. It was a lot different than it is nowadays, but it was a good introductory to, getting into this world of business. So from there, I moved in through some other, tech companies and startups, but I started getting into the agency space and learning more about digital marketing over a decade ago. And essentially, doing sales, testing out different things, whether it was AdWords, SEO back then, and now like all sorts of different things just to get my feet wet. I started my own agency in 2020, actually a couple weeks right before COVID shut everything down. So that was a really interesting wake up call of how things were operating then. But we sledged through it and made it what we had to do work. And we built a lot of rank and rent sites at the start to kind of test some theories, get some portfolio built up right out of the gate, and we were able to do that and rent those assets out, still being ranked and rented out to companies now, even after 4 or 5 years. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that helped us get into a larger agency space, building websites, focusing on SEO, a lot of contractors. We work therapists and wealth management groups. So yeah, so we learned a lot. We helped a lot of companies grow. We still do, we still are. But that kind of led into the next project that kind of helps another big problem that we noticed having success with our clients is that they weren't always answering the phone. They weren't responding to new customers quick enough, right? And it started becoming kind of like the next level of pain and issues that a lot of these companies started dealing with. is, we're doing marketing, we're getting leads now. That's great. But now we have the problem of not being able to handle the influx of the conversations and, missing out on opportunities. And, as a marketer, I know, when you guys are kicking butt over there with Blue Crocus and you're generating new business for your clients, there's that new level of issues that come up. And like I
It's
said,
like we can't take all the calls and we can't, it just
exactly.
becomes a big deal, right?
Exactly, and we realize, like, if we're doing all this marketing and we're not maximizing on everything that's coming through as the main goal and objective, then, we're leaving tens of thousands, if not six figures on the table for most of these businesses, right, that we work with. So, we wanted to make sure that we figured out a solution that could handle those influx of calls, inquiries on the website, and allow, the businesses to have a breather, right? But also be able to tackle some of those after hours calls and other, inquiries that you just wouldn't be able to get to in the proper time frame. So we've created that solution that's been absolutely gangbuster for our clients, and again is able to give them that breather and a little bit of freedom from, the constant, inquiries, right? So
It's huge.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's talk about Trailblaze. That's
sure.
what we're leading to is the solution that you came up with to help people. What is Trailblaze? We kind of talked about the problem that it solves, but what does it specifically do?
It's funny, like when we first started, we started doing educational webinars with a lot of the big organizations in Nova Scotia. So they're Digital Nova Scotia, Tourism Nova Scotia. We were helping small businesses just get a basic understanding of ChatGPT and, how to use it for their businesses, right? That quickly transitioned into like, what kind of service are we wanting to offer here? Because we're getting beyond just, the basic understanding and prompting and ChatGPT, but that's where it kinda connected. Like I said, we wanted to build a software or SaaS that could handle the phone calls because we noticed that was the biggest problem our clients were having, me and my partner. It was just the growth, the influx, and not being able to handle it. So that's where we started looking at what we can put together to create that kind of system, but also utilize our skill in marketing and sales and communication to be able to help our customers really devise the best type of conversational AI to
Mm,
implement for their business, right? Which is also key, is making sure that we have it set up in very specific ways to help humanize it, right? And make sure that the person who's communicating it with the bot has a great experience, right? Just like you would expect if they're contacting a human that's working in your business, right?
yeah.
Or yourself as a
So is
business owner.
this voice or written or both?
It's all. So yeah, obviously the voice is a big one, taking over your phone lines, whether it's during your main line or after hours, whatever you want to be set up. But then we also have the text communication as well. That again, they can communicate 24/7 with it whenever they want and available either way, right? Or both all at the same time.
So do you
Yeah.
tell people in the voice? Because I've seen this argument with, in the groups or argument or thought process, I guess, of whether you tell someone that they're interacting with an AI voice when they're on the
Yep.
phone.
Yeah, we do. I always want to make it clear that this is, so and so's AI assistant, right? I think again, you're always going to have people who are apprehensive either way. But from what our own experience dealing a lot with the trades, businesses in this space, they're just happy that someone picked up the phone on the first go.
Yeah.
I mean, that was if we look at a lot of the complaints or we look at a lot of the things that people are saying with our clients is, wow, you guys respond, you were the first one to respond right away. I called 10 different people before
Yeah.
someone actually picked up the phone. That happens probably half the time,
Wow.
right? And I know a lot of businesses, they can relate to that. They might put themselves out there as someone who responds a lot, but they might see it in their industry or have that same communication where like, wow, you picked up the phone, I'm talking to you, we're doing business,
Mm,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
And it's a big thing, right? 78% or more people are going with the first person that's picking up the phone. I mean, that's a big
Oh,
number.
they get a
That's
problem. They're not
right.
shopping around.
No, it's
They're
an
yeah.
advantage, right? It's an advantage for sure. So, we wanna make sure we take full advantage of every advantage and turn it into those opportunities for the businesses, right? So, a lot of the times, the most common thing is someone's coming in, they're gonna have questions, right? Every person's gonna have questions typically. It could be pricing related, it could be, time frame related. There's a whole variety things that they could be asking, but, we wanna make sure we can answer all of those the best we can. We build a great knowledge base for the business, so it's reflective of all your information, right? And at the end of the day, a lot of the time, it's, booking the next stage of it, right? So maybe it's a home assessment, maybe it's a free quote, maybe it's a one-on-one, whatever it looks like. typically we want to give that over to, whether it's a business owner or the main person that would be handling those at a higher level. But we're qualifying, at the same time to make sure you're not having tire kickers come through that are just going to waste your time. So it's really great filtering and then ultimately getting you the best prospects that are coming through and making sure you're maximizing your time when you do communicate with them.
That's super cool. So I'm like, ring, it's John's tree service or John's junk removal, because I know you work with junk removal and I know we're going to get people in the audience who are in junk removal. I'm ringing you up and I'm
Yep.
calling John's junk removal. What happens? You're the AI bot.
Yeah, so basically from that, we're going through kind of like the script that we create, the introductory points of that. Essentially we're asking, what are they looking for? What do they need help with, right? However you would do it. We're mimicking these key points, right? And then through there, we're going to ask them, sorry, open-ended questions, right? To try to get to what their needs are and solve any of those, questions or problems that they might have. And then
That's huge.
ultimately, we're guiding them through the sales process at the same time, right? So you're helping them through, you're qualifying them, and then basically we're able to assess this is a good lead. We want to take them to the next stage of this and make sure that we're either booking them into something or making sure that, the business owner or whoever is responding afterwards, right? So there's different ways of doing it, but that's kind of the
So
goal.
do you have a number I can call right now live and we can try it? I know I'm putting you on
Uh,
the spot and I totally didn't tee this up, but I do like to, that's just where I think the audience would benefit from this.
Not the number, but if I send you to a specific URL,
Yeah.
you can fill it out
Yeah.
as like a business,
Yeah.
and then it will call you and then role play with you.
Is that something we can do here fairly quickly?
Should be. Let me just put it in the chat here.
Cool. You could even shoot it to me on Facebook, would be even easier. I guess we could, yeah, because I'll do it on my phone, so we have it a separate. Okay, chat. Okay,
Let me
perfect.
just double check. That's
I think you sent it to me before here. I've got it on Facebook here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, guys, for those listening at home, and we'll edit this up for the podcast anyway, I'm going to just open this here and test it out. So I'm going to demo it here. We're going to be a junk removal company. That's number one on the list. And my company gets, so basically I'm going to his, is this publicly available, this URL you just
Oh,
shared?
yeah. So basically, anyone can go put in an actual URL because what will happen is our AI will go to your website, go through all your information, and then base, some of the responses to that.
Perfect. So we've got Nick. Nick is here with WAP, which, by the way, John, if you haven't checked out WAP, you should. It's crazy. We
Yes.
just switched over from Strop to WAP. Stripe to
Okay.
WAP. Wow, that was a tongue twister there. I'm doing a bunch of promos here live. All right, so I dropped it in the chat there, guys. So it's chat.trailblazeai.ca, and I'm filling it out. So I'm saying I missed calls because I'm busy, and I'm just going to enter my info here in the setup. So John has a really easy to do little form that you fill out. Literally doing it here. And you said it's going to call me, right?
Yeah, usually within 30 seconds or so.
Are you nervous that we're doing this live?
No.
Okay, perfect. You could have said yes.
No, I don't get, even if it doesn't work, listen, for whatever reason, sometimes it happens. You try it again, then it does.
Yeah, I love it.
It is what it is.
Okay, so it says our system is calling you in the next 30 seconds. Our AI is quickly reviewing your information on the website. Okay, cool. So I put in blue crocus. We're going to do it. I said junk removal, and then I put in blue crocus, so I might confuse it a little bit.
Maybe. It's hard. We'll see.
But we'll see what it does, right? So it's reviewing the info, and then we're going to get a call here in the next little bit, and it even gives the number that our AI Michelle is calling from. So we'll just, Domingo is tuning in here as well, and Dan Kane, is tuning in from Vancouver, Washington.
Thanks for jumping on, guys. Yeah, so like I said, you can go to the URL, put in your business, and like I said, it should act like your own assistant. Now, keep in mind when we actually build these out, there's a lot more detail and information that goes into the back end.
Yeah, let's talk about it until Michelle calls me here. If someone's signing up, obviously this is where you can jump in, you can test it out. John's going to get your info. He's going to reach out or have Michelle reach out and then go through that. But if someone's jumping on with Trailblaze AI, they get to then have you basically help build out the knowledge base and really build it out robustly. Is that correct?
That's it. Oh yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So cool. So it's just processing there. May have thrown it for a glitch. Maybe John's looking on the back end there. But super cool, guys. And here's why this is interesting and why this is cool. One, I happen to have seen the quality of work that John puts out and the people that he hangs out with. I purposely didn't test it until we were live on here, so we kind of get this live feed for you, because I think it's cool if I can put myself in your shoes. But I've seen the people John hangs out with and the types of things that he's doing, and he's in the groups calling out other people. So you gotta have your skeletons cleaned up if you're going to be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So I'm just waiting, just making sure I'm not missing the call here. But yeah, super interesting. So I think the thing that is the most interesting here for me from the perspective of someone in the trades is you're busy. You're on the truck. A lot of our clients as well, they have, maybe one or two trucks, maybe some crew, but maybe they're tied up too in the day to day. I mean, heck, even as as an agency owner, I'm busy sometimes and I'm not always looking at my phone. Like, you get dialed in on something, right? And so to have the option for the phone to always be picked up when someone is calling, it's a big deal. People want to be, they want to feel like you have a solution, even if it's not you directly, to take care of their problems and to take care of what they need. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So John, I haven't gotten a call yet. Anything on your side that might be holding that up, do you think?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure right this moment, Lewis.
You're good. Unless I put my phone number in wrong, that is possible.
I'm just wondering if the information screwed it up, but I don't know for sure.
It could have, yeah.
But I'd have to delete everything from the system from you.
We can do that. I'll do it. I'll do a talking point and then I'll fill it back out again so that you can talk and we don't keep people waiting here.
Yeah,
But
sure.
if you want to delete me, and then I'll do it again. But yeah, this is cool. You guys are hearing it here live. If you're on the podcast, it will have been edited out by then.
Yeah, I do see you in the CRM, so that at least worked.
Nice. Drop it in the comments if someone did pick it up from the one. I think it only went to YouTube though, but it's chat.trailblazeai.ca. We do have a question here. Aaron says, can your CRM integrate with Carmack Fusion?
That's a good question. I honestly am not sure. I've never heard of Carmack Fusion before, but it's something we can definitely have a look at and see if there's capabilities. If you don't mind, what is Carmack Fusion?
So I believe he works in the car space. Aaron, maybe you can drop it down in the chat there. But Aaron, it'd be worth having a chat with John anyway. Fellow Atlantic Canadian, lives in
Yeah,
Halifax,
absolutely.
right?
Halifax, yeah.
Yeah, so Aaron's actually here in Fredericton.
Okay.
Yeah. So I believe he works with Kia. Could be messing that up, but yeah, that'd be cool for you guys to connect for sure.
Yeah, we've worked with some like different types of CRMs and other programs. Like I said, some were able to and some play friendly, right? In terms of pushing different data and all that good stuff. And then sometimes there's issues. So we can definitely have a look and see if there's possibilities there for sure. Oh yeah, lots of Canadians.
Oh, I'm back. I hit the back button by mistake. Can you hear me okay, John?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So Aaron's dropped it there. It's on Facebook. We'll snag that there. But let's talk about SEO. Let's roll this back around here. I'll do that once you get rolling again, and we'll loop back around. But I think that's why I'm excited here too, because seeing how John rolls with this live is an example of his professionalism. But let's talk about SEO. I know content and AI is a big one that people are talking about. I'm curious about how you do it. I know we talked some about it. But you have a system where you use AI to support, but you're still using writers. And we do something similar. I don't think we have quite the same system, but really curious if you could share with people your philosophy around writing content with AI, using AI for SEO. I mean, we could have a whole series of webinars on that, but if you could just give people some high level, and then we can dig
Sure.
deeper into that.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing that AI really helps with is, gathering and sourcing information and data, right? And
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, the old school way of doing a lot of the content creation was, you'd have to go and research every competitor in depth, look at what they're doing. It could take countless hours per article just to try to gather that information, or service pages, location pages on your site, whatever it is, content in general that would go up on your website. And what AI really has done is able to go through all of that in 5, 10 minutes at most and research and scale across the whole internet, check directories and places like Reddit. and then go and review other competitors that you want them to look through and kind of give you a deep evaluation of what they're doing that's working, right? And like I said, my writers before, that would take probably 5 hours of real research to go through and do that, and now it's 5 minutes, and that's been the biggest thing. So, that just means we can create more content at scale and get more of that mundane research out of the way, but even better at a higher level of accuracy, to be honest with you. Because again, my team are really good writers. It doesn't mean that they're great researchers or evaluators of SEO. That would be quite the undertaking to be great at all of it at that level. But yeah, it was allowed them to just expedite that process and get that information at a higher level where then they can take it and put it together in a way where it sounds better, but it also has a better, impact with those that are reading it, which is ultimately the main goal of any content we create on a website, right? It's great Google likes it and the large language models, but at the end of the day, the most important person is the customer. And are you doing the right things to get them to want to take action with you?
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting you mentioned the, going out and researching. I'd like to talk about Reddit here in a second, but one of the things that we've started doing is actually researching competitors' reviews. So using
Mhm.
AI to go out and scrape competitors' reviews, look at them. What are all the things that people don't like about working with them? And then you can hit those pain points in your content and in your questions that you're answering in the way that you present what you do, as opposed to how the competitors might do it. Let's talk a bit about Reddit. Why is Reddit important, and why are you scraping Reddit for content research?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think number one, like there's so many people that use it, but they always are asking very specific questions that you might not necessarily find, right? Or you want to get a perspective that's more than just one. A lot of these Reddit posts can have dozens and dozens and dozens of people responding as well. So it's kind of correlating all of this feedback from the audience that has this experience or has a response to the questions that are being asked, and it's a gold mine, right? And the large language models, they love it. They're picking it up a lot. So that allows us to start getting more insight on really like what are the major pain points? And even on a local level, right? It can be a big thing. On a general national level, there could be different various questions, but locally there could be very specific things that are nuanced to that area. And this can go through it with a fine tooth comb and really find some gems and things that are really helpful in this day and age.
Super helpful, and it's user generated content, right? It's questions that people are actually having. So if you can then take that question that was asked and incorporate the answer to that into your content, one
Yep.
more person that they had that specific question, but if they had it, 100 other people had that same question, just didn't know how to voice it.
Exactly. And I think one of the biggest things that we've always focused on when it comes to SEO, and now, like I said, with the conversational AI is, can we make sure that we're solving all the problems that a person might have that's coming to this website? Any question that they're having, we should be able to respond to them or have it somewhere within the website that's, again, checking another box off of them. The more we do that, the more that we're basically taking down these barriers that we might have in terms of the sale. If they don't have any questions at the end of it, well, how do we get started,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. How do we get started? What's the thing that you do? How does it all come together? Oh, we got Andrew in the
Exactly.
house. I was hoping you'd show up.
Andrew, how you doing, buddy?
We got a heckler here. Hopefully he heckles according to
No,
the regular heckling.
no, he
I
loves
like it.
us.
And Andrew's another good dude in the SEO space, which, by the way, Andrew, this is your call to come on the podcast as well. But yeah, it's so. I mean, I've been talking about they ask you answer for so long with the Marcus Sheridan principle. There's a book by the name They Ask You Answer. What are the questions that people are asking? For those that don't know, go check out Marcus Sheridan. He's actually really interesting on LinkedIn. He posts a lot of content on there. He's doing a lot with AI. He's doing a lot with, continuing the whole concept of transparency and pricing and answering people's questions and all of that. Really cool story. He took a pool company from pretty much dying to ranking, worldwide for pool terms. He was a company in Vermont, I believe it was, and they started getting orders from Australia of people who wanted them to come install pools. And he's like, "Well, sorry, I can't
Wow.
really. It's
Yeah,
going to
a
be
little
a
that's a trek,
bit cost
big journey.
prohibitive." But
Mm,
no heckles from Andrew today, unfortunate. But yeah,
that's
what's
what it is.
another thing around content or SEO that the AI is super useful for, John? And I'm going to hit the form here again, and we'll let the AI see if it gives me a call. But let's
Sure.
talk another AI hack here.
I mean, really, it's getting a lot of just the information that we need or planning things out so you can create a roadmap a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. Even things like internal linking, right, can have a big impact on things. So if we're able to get all the URLs and we can get the right anchor text going in between them, there's a lot of benefits there too that we see that AI
Mm.
helps with. That again is just shaving down time, right?
Yeah.
A 5-hour task is now, like I said, 5 minutes. It's just making things more simplistic. And like I said, those are the core things, right? And again, you can use AI to create the content itself. And we do after going through this process in some projects,
I
right?
love it.
Not
We've
every
got
project.
Michelle calling. I'm going to answer. Hey,
Hi,
how's it?
Lewis. I'm Michelle, the AI sales assistant here at Trailblaze AI. Thanks for filling out the form. I am excited to show you what this could look like for your business. So you're in the other space and handling around between 51 and 150 inbound calls each month. Sounds like things are busy and growing. I also noticed you're facing a challenge with missing calls because you're busy with customers, a super common issue we help fix daily. Let me show you what it would be like if an AI agent could step in and help. We'll do a quick role play and you'll play your customer, and I'll show you how the AI would interact with them in real time using details from your website. When you're ready, just say ring, ring.
Ring, ring.
Perfect. Let me set the scene for you. Phone rings. Thanks for calling Blue Crocus Solutions. This is our AI assistant. I'm here to help you with website design, SEO, or any of our digital marketing services. How can I help you today?
I'm looking for SEO, but I've tried 4 other agencies and I've just had no success.
I totally understand. Like, that's frustrating. And honestly, we hear that a lot. The difference with Blue Crocus is that we're not chasing vanity metrics. We focus on results that actually move the needle for your business. Can I ask, what kind of business are you in? And what were you hoping to see from SEO that didn't happen with those other agencies?
That's cool. Obviously, we could keep going, but
Yeah.
you guys can see just from the test, John set that up really well. So it's like, I mean, he's got it set up in the, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a showcase of what it can do, and then it rolls me into the ring ring, and then just basically took info from, like, the thing about vanity metrics. We have that somewhere on the website.
Yeah.
I
So
forget which
so
page.
that's exactly. So like that's the cool thing. And really, like I said, this is about the 10th of the power it can be. One of the tools and resources it utilizes your website. The biggest cap now, I know you guys have a really great website, all your information's there, like you do a great job. So if we went through it, we probably don't have any gaps, right? But the big thing is we work with a lot of companies if we haven't physically done their website or marketing that might have some gaps. So the
Mhm.
biggest thing is we have to determine what that might look like and how do we include that as part of our knowledge base to ensure, like I said, we're not missing any questions for customers. We're answering everything in a perfect way and then guiding them through the next step. So really, if we would have kept going, it would have taken Lewis through, qualifying and making
Yeah,
sure that he's the right fit for this, and then trying to book an appointment with us so we can go further into like what's going on, is this going to work, and kind of take it from there, right? So
yeah,
same kind of concept, but it's mapped out for every business, based on what their needs are. So we take it to that next level based from there. But yeah, that's
yeah.
just checking out your website.
It's super cool too, because it must have not fired, or I put the wrong number in the first time. But Michelle texted me like the instant I put in the information, just like, "Hey, this is Michelle from Trailblaze. I just saw the website form come in," and then she said, "I'm checking it out." And then she's like, "Got it. Nice website. I'll call you for my personal number shortly." And
Yeah.
then she called me. So great workflow there as well, John.
Yeah.
So great job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, thank you.
but picture yourself as a tree removal company or a junk removal company, or whatever company you run. I mean, we're all basically marketing companies that sell some sort of widget or product, right?
Exactly.
It's really what it boils down to. And if you can have someone taking your calls and answering people's questions, that a person is going to be answering the same questions on the call, and whether they're just qualifying them, I imagine you probably process it out. So if they get stumped, it's like, hey, let me hook you up with someone or get you on a schedule, or I'll get someone to call you back immediately or whatever. But
Absolutely.
it helps so much to have that immediate contact.
Oh, exactly. And like I said, we will over time is usually when we modify these things to get it perfect for a business, right? We can hypothesize and we can go through what your typical sales call or conversations look like and try to fill in as many gaps as we can. But yeah, sometimes something comes up. It's funny. One of our customers had someone call in late at night, and I remember going through the transcript for it, and this person came through for something that was completely irrelevant to what they offered. right? But our bot was able to search the internet for a reference point to what their question was and actually give them guidance, not saying you have to do this or this, but you should talk to this type of person, this type of business, and based on like Google reviews, this person's the highest in your area, and then gave them the suggestion. This person was so thankful to our AI, calling it honey. I think it was an older lady, right? But just like, no one helps us anymore. I'm so grateful for your time and guiding me that way. And it's just funny, like it had nothing to do with it, but it was still providing a good experience, even if it was someone that we couldn't physically have helped in terms of the business.
That's wild. And then just have a little, this is not financial advice at the end or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Little disclaimer.
exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately about providing that service for people, and I think there's so much potential. And guys, if you're like, oh, I don't want an AI answering, would you rather an AI answer than nobody?
Mm.
I think there's a pretty clear answer there. If you can at least start helping someone along the journey, you've transparently told them that it is an AI. I actually really like that you've done that, John, because I think I've called some other ones where they don't identify, and it's like, I know it's AI, but it's not telling me, it's just pretending to be a person, right? And so if you can be really transparent, like when you're chatting with a chatbot on a website and it's like, hey, this is our AI assistant. Usually you can, get to a person if you need to, but usually there's things that you just haven't been able to find on their website that it can answer you to.
Exactly. I think it sets the expectation, right? So just in case there's anything that does come up, like realize like, hey, if there's something we can't help you with, we'll try and figure that out or get the right person on. One of the biggest things, and like I tell a lot of the businesses that are apprehensive of maybe putting this full time into, the on the phone line, right? It's like, you might only want this after hours, right?
Yeah.
I don't know any business that I work with or connected with that are physically open 24 hours that they can literally answer the phone at any time.
Yeah.
I
Or
don't
they're
I
paying a
don't know.
call answering service, which
Yeah,
is
or they'd
typically
have to have some
offshore.
kind of service, a call center or something that's probably overseas if you're calling after hours.
Yeah.
So there's things that can be done, but like realistically, most aren't responding after hours. And if you are, then you're getting into the next big issue, which is you feel like your freedom's getting eaten up, right? So that was kind of the other big thing from our clients is they're talking about their freedom. So for example, they get home at 7 o'clock, they want to go to the kids' little league game, and the phone's still ringing and they don't want to be there answering the phone because they're trying to have family time, they're trying to connect, and you start feeling that pressure and you feel like you're always connected in that way and not being able to connect
Yeah.
with the other things that matter. And that was the biggest thing. And even outside of revenue growth, it was, how can I free up some time here so I can either spend it with family or maybe work on other things that I've been putting off that are key to my growth or, where I'm at in my business. And, we realized that's a huge thing. So it kind of fills that gap too. But just to, like I said, those that don't want to jump in full time, we have those measures in place where it might just be after hours. And then at some point, maybe you're like, you know what? The whole thing, just do it. I think we've shown enough that it makes sense to do this full time and we can go from there. And if that's the case, perfect. If not, it's also okay. Or it can be on your website as a chat, right? And just doing its thing via text and not phone. So we're flexible based on where the business is and what they're trying to do and help them anyway.
That's super cool. Since you're a numbers guy, what percentage lift in like booked appointments does someone typically see, or what are some case studies? Best,
Oh yeah,
worst, whatever. Yeah.
25%, 30%. We've seen increases in
Wow.
conversions that they wouldn't have, and I
Because they just
can't.
weren't picking it up, or it was just because they're
Yeah,
available longer.
I would say about close to 60% were after hours,
Wow.
and 6 o'clock onwards, some 9 o'clock. Like I mean, it was kind of shocking, but really, when you think about it, so many people are working all day. They don't have time during the day to contact you guys and figure
Especially the
things
home
out.
service type of calls.
Yeah, exactly. Like they need a minute, right? And if they're not able to do it during the day, I mean, when are they going to do it? Well, they're home, they're making dinner, they're having some family time, and it's 7, 8 o'clock at night, but before the kids are done, and they can finally have a minute to think. And what a perfect opportunity to try to get those questions out there then, right? So that's what we're seeing a lot of it in the home services, especially, right?
Yeah,
And some of the biggest sales that our companies have made have been from after hours, from what we've tracked. So it's
that's
those
cool.
opportunities that might not have been there a couple months ago, they're now there. And like I said, we're talking big deals. These are if 25% increase in conversions, I mean, for some of the businesses we work with, that's six figures,
That's
right?
huge. Yeah, yeah.
Huge.
Well, segueing from the baseball game, the little league game, back to the AI answering service, you just don't get any at bats if you're not answering the phone. And this gives you the chance
Exactly.
to get an at bat and actually
Exactly.
have a chance.
Exactly. And I think, like I said, and most trades guys are going to know how well they do when they're having those sales conversations and they're selling. Most of you guys are rock stars, right? I hear it all the time. Oh, if I get them on the phone, we're good. Okay, great. Right. So now it's the opportunity, like I said, to get all the ones that you might not have gotten before for various reasons. You're busy, you're doing this, it's after hours, it's the weekend, it's a holiday, whatever it is. Now you can fill those gaps. And I think what we're going to see in this industry is very simple. You know, the major players in all of these markets, right? Junk removal, we can name a couple,
Yeah.
right? When I hear wait on 1-800 get junk, all these big players. I mean, they're going to have these systems in place to take advantage of it, guys. And like I said, there's now things in place so even smaller guys can take advantage of this and start, moving in the right direction based on getting these phone calls in place and responding to everyone that comes through. It's going to be an advantage.
Gives you a hugely unfair advantage. Yeah. Yeah.
Big time.
And we were talking off air, but we're kind of at the age, it might be an over exaggeration, but we're at an age or a similar time in history where, when the internet came out, it's like everyone's like, oh no, it's not going to be a thing. And, when Yahoo and Google came out, we're at another inflection point here in history where soon everybody's going to have these. And if you don't have them, you're going to be left behind. If you do have them, you're still slightly ahead of the curve. You're still slightly able to, get a leg up on the competition on the market. So it's funny. Dan jumped away. He said, I'm back. I had to take a call. No AI yet. So Dan, definitely check out Trailblaze AI. I know Dan is building a cool junk removal business out in Washington there. But, it's a chance for people to get on that wagon for sure.
Absolutely.
How do people get in touch? And what's pricing like for this?
Yeah, pricing. Well, typically what we're doing is we have a setup design cost that's roughly about two grand,
Yep.
and then we have a lower monthly cost to maintain it, and as well as all the other costs that are associated with usage and minutes through phone or text messages. So we can do text message as well, which is again depending on your business, text message can actually be pretty big, right? And
Huge.
who you're dealing with in terms of an audience. So forgot to mention that we also do text message responses back and forth.
Well, I mean, Michelle just texted me. Like I could probably text her
Ex-
back and she'd probably reply, right?
Probably, like I said, we set it up a little bit differently for each
This
business
workflow is probably a little different. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit different workflow, but yeah, like I said, you'll be able to respond and set communication. Some of our clients really like that, right?
Yeah.
Because
Text
their
is huge.
audience is so used to it, and it's the quickest way to get back and forth for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to call you guys, right? Like
Yeah.
we know that at this point, like form submissions and chat work, SMS is just huge. Like I said, 30, there's 20, 30-year-olds, some 40-year-olds, like they just want quick, easy response. If you can SMS it, easy peasy.
Yeah.
Right.
Dan's rocking it out with no AI, no sponsored ads, just seeing his 138 5-star reviews. Keep it rocking, man. I love it. Love it. But no, that's the text thing. I'm thinking of some applications there, as we're talking for, for our business, for some other of our clients too, the ability to have someone chatting in text and you able to see it on the back end, pop in if you want as well, take over as a human. That conversation could be happening at midnight. That conversation could be happening
and
at
they
2
are.
in the morning. Yeah, they are.
And they do.
Yeah.
A lot. Like I said,
usually it's like you're about to go to bed and your wife's like, oh, did you get that thing? It's Sunday night and, or maybe it's Wednesday right before Christmas this year. And she's like, did you get that thing done? And you're like, oh, crap. And then you're like, well, I better find out. And if you can just text someone, a company, and have them reply with their AI assistant, like that's a big deal.
Absolutely. And a
You're
couple other
brownie
things.
points right there.
Yeah, a couple other things I didn't even mention, when we're looking at SEO too, the benefits that it has in a couple areas. So one, having a chat on your website, can keep people there longer through conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
those are great signals, right? The other thing too is, you have someone that can answer the phone 24/7. You're open technically 24/7. You can have that altered in your Google My Business, which means when you would have normally closed at 5 or 6 and maybe your map ranking goes down slightly during that, close period, you now can be open the whole time and it might keep you in that position where, you're rocking it, right? So the other part is Google is going to allow here, if they haven't already launched it, the ability for Google to call businesses and ask them and book things and all that stuff, right? So it's going to be very soon
Two AI
where
bots talking to
Google's
each other.
AI is going to be talking to our AI and having those conversations. So you can imagine if Google's wanting to put that out there and use it, they're going to be pushing that hard. And if you can be there in front of everyone all the time, it
Yeah.
only benefit.
Yeah. It's a customer experience, and Google's playing into that, right? The ability for someone to get their bot or agent to book with your agent or bot. That's a big deal. Actually, can Trailblaze book appointments too?
So we do book appointments, like in terms of people coming in and they
Yeah. So
want to book, we book right into a
John
calendar.
from the
Yep.
phone. Yeah.
Yep,
Amazing.
we'll book right into a calendar. Usually Google Calendar is the easiest thing that we can use to book, right?
Yep.
There are some other ones we can use in APIs, but typically Google Calendar's easy peasy, simple.
So I could
And
ring John's junk removal, chat through what I need. All right, cool. I'm gonna have the guys come out tomorrow at noon, and then
absolutely
book it
gonna
in.
book that home assessment, gonna book like whatever it is, you can go and book something in there. Even if it's a follow-up conversation with someone who just wants to close the deal and make sure everything's good beyond that, we've done it either way. It's
That's
whatever you
insane.
guys, are trying to do. But that's the main goal, book it in. And ours, when you're done going through it, it's probably gonna book in a time to talk with me and Colin if you go through the whole thing. So
Yeah.
just FYI, we'll be trying to do that too.
Michelle will be reaching out. I like it.
Exactly.
Let's wrap up with some things that people should be doing to stay relevant in AI when it comes
Mhm.
to SEO, AEO, GEO, all the things that people are arguing about. What are the things that you guys are really focusing on to get people showing up in there?
So what again, the same strategies that we've been using for years are the same strategies that have worked. I'll be honest with you, other than subtle adjustments in some of the prompts that we might use in terms of research or what we're gathering might have changed, but ultimately the same process has been in place that is still working, right?
Mhm.
I've always been under the guidance that we're trying to get all of the information we can to solve every problem that your customer might have. And if we do that, through the websites in terms of the information, the FAQs, as well as the supporting content through blogs. We're covering everything we possibly can. We start making you more authoritative in your space because hey, this person is responding to everything, not everything, but the main things that you should be looking at that people care about should be the things you check off. But that's what wins because it's another layer that a lot of businesses just don't do, right? So if you're more informative and you're more helpful, I'm seeing it still working for our clients that are showing up in chat because, oh, look, this very specific long tail keyword that, is more nuanced than just plumber in city or whatever. Yeah, they're using these things for more complex takes. And if you can help by providing that great content, it's showing up. That's where it's coming from for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. The basics that SEOs thought they could get away without doing for a while are much more important now than they have been for a second. Schema, alt tags, making sure it's fast, making sure that all the information possible is there on the site. Really, really important stuff. John, what a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks for being willing to do a live example here. I find it really
Absolutely.
fun, and I hope the viewers and listeners do as well. Anything you would leave with people that we didn't chat about that you'd like to kind of put out there?
No, not really. Like I said, I think we're in like the strange age that we're moving into, right? That everyone's trying to adapt to things. You're trying to get a better handle on, what you can do out there so you can help your business. I think that's, all of us as entrepreneurs are always trying to strive to be better one way or another, right? You think about your own business, you think about what you've had to do and, the hurdles you've had to climb to get to where you are. There's so many aspects and learning all these things and about AI. You don't have to be experts, but know what's out there that can help your business because if you're able to save time and you're able to make your teams maybe more effective in certain ways, like these are the advantages that are the new era for businesses. And it doesn't matter if you're a trade business, it doesn't matter if you're a massage therapist, it doesn't matter. They're all things that can provide value to your customers. Number one, most important thing, we're always trying to do that. And number two, like I said, being ahead of the curve and taking advantage of the time that we're in. It's easier than ever, I think, to get help to people and get things in place quicker than ever. It's crazy.
The tech is easier than ever. It's going to get noisier than ever. So make sure you jump on it and make sure that you're differentiating yourself. So, guys, as always, number one, John, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for
Thanks for having me,
sharing the
Lewis.
knowledge and giving people the resource there. If you're listening to the podcast, we'll drop the link there for you to chat directly with Trailblaze and with Michelle there and see how it could work for your business. But guys, as always, go back through this episode or think back as you're wrapping up if you've gotten this far and think about what's one thing that you can implement, whether it be reaching out to John and testing out Trailblaze, whether it be, using ChatGPT to scrape Reddit and see what people are actually asking, so you can put that on your website. Be a hunter, not a gatherer. And maybe you turn things up to a notch by having AI be a hunter for you, duplicate yourself there a little bit. So John, thank you so much. Guys and girls, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.